Hi there, welcome back to American Lingo Academy. I'm Luna, and today we're going to learn 10 super useful phrasal verbs that native English speakers use all the time in everyday conversation. I'm going to explain each one very clearly with simple examples that you can start using right away. So grab something to drink, get comfortable, and let's dive in together. Number 1, cut out. This phrasal verb means to stop doing something or to remove something completely. When you cut something out, you eliminate it from your life or from a situation. It's like using scissors to cut a picture out of a magazine. You're removing it completely. We also use this when we want to stop a bad habit or remove something unhealthy from our daily routine. For example, imagine your doctor tells you that you need to eat healthier because your sugar levels are too high. You might say, I'm going to cut out sugar from my diet. This means you're going to stop eating sugar completely. It's a really common way to talk about making healthy lifestyle changes. Here's another one. Let's say your friend keeps making jokes during a serious meeting at work, and it's becoming annoying. You might whisper to him, "Hey, cut it out." This is a casual way of saying, stop doing that. People use it all the time when someone is doing something they shouldn't be doing. Number 2, cut out on. This phrasal verb means to suddenly stop working or to stop functioning, usually when we're talking about machines, engines, or electronic devices. It's like when something just dies or quits in the middle of working. This happens a lot with older cars, computers, or even electricity in your home. For example, imagine you're driving home from work and suddenly your car engine makes a strange noise and stops running. You could say, "My car cut out on me in the middle of the highway." This tells people that your car stopped working suddenly and unexpectedly. It's a really frustrating situation. Here's another one. Maybe you're watching your favorite TV show at night, and suddenly the power goes off in your neighborhood. You might tell your family, "The electricity cut out on us again." This means the power stopped working suddenly. We use this phrasal verb when technology or power fails us without warning. Number 3, cut up. This phrasal verb means to cut something into smaller pieces. It's what you do in the kitchen when you're preparing food. You take something big and cut it into many smaller parts. It's a very practical verb that we use almost every day, especially when we're cooking meals for ourselves or our families. For example, let's say you're making a salad for lunch and you have a big tomato. You need to make it smaller so it's easier to eat. You would say, "I need to cut up this tomato for the salad." This is such a natural way to talk about food preparation. Native speakers say this all the time in the kitchen. Here's another one. Imagine your little nephew is 3 years old and you're giving him an apple to eat. The whole apple is too big for him. You might say, "Let me cut up this apple into small pieces for him." This shows you're making the food safer and easier for a small child to eat. It's a very caring thing to do. Number 4, damp down. This phrasal verb means to make something less strong or less intense. We often use it when talking about fires, but we can also use it for emotions or situations. When you damp something down, you're reducing its power or intensity. Think of it like turning down the volume on something that's too loud. For example, imagine you have a campfire at night with your friends, but it's getting late and you want to go to sleep. The fire is still burning strong. You might say, "We need to damp down the fire before we go to bed." This means you want to make the fire smaller and less strong so it's safer while you sleep. Here's another one. Let's say there's a lot of excitement and rumors spreading around your office about possible layoffs. Your manager might say, "Let's damp down these rumors and focus on our work." This means let's reduce the intensity of these worries and not let them get out of control. Number 5, damp off. This is a specific phrasal verb that we use in gardening. It means when young plants die because of too much moisture or fungus in the soil. It's not a verb you'll use every day unless you love gardening, but it's still good to know if you're interested in growing plants. For example, imagine you planted some tomato seeds in pots and they started to grow nicely, but then you watered them too much and now the baby plants are dying. You might say to your gardening friend, "Oh no, my seedlings damped off because I watered them too much." This explains exactly what happened. Here's another one. Maybe you're reading a gardening article online because you want to start growing herbs. The article says, "Make sure your soil has good drainage, or your basil seedlings might damp off." This is a warning to be careful with water so your young plants don't die from too much moisture. Number 6, dash down. This phrasal verb means to write something very quickly. When you dash something down, you're writing fast because you need to capture an idea or you're in a hurry. It's like when inspiration hits you and you need to write it before you forget that important thought. For example, imagine you're in a meeting at work and your boss mentions an important deadline that you absolutely cannot forget. You quickly grab a pen and write it down fast. You might say later, "I had to dash down that deadline before I forgot it." This shows you wrote it quickly, so you wouldn't lose that important information. Here's another one. Let's say you're a songwriter and you wake up in the middle of the night with a beautiful melody in your head. You're worried you'll forget it by morning. You grab your phone and quickly write the ideas. You could tell your friend the next day, "I woke up at 3 in the morning and dashed down some song lyrics." Number 7. Dash off. This phrasal verb means to write something quickly, usually something short like an email, a note, or a message. It can also mean to leave somewhere in a hurry, so it has two meanings, but both have this idea of doing something fast without much time to think about it. For example, imagine your colleague sends you an important email asking for information, and you're really busy. You might say, "Let me just dash off a quick email to her before my next meeting." This means you're going to write a fast, short email because you don't have much time. Here's another one. Let's say you're having coffee with a friend, but suddenly you remember you have a dentist appointment in 20 minutes. You need to leave right away. You might say, "Oh no, I have to dash off. I completely forgot about my appointment." This use of dash off means to leave quickly or in a hurry. Number 8. Dawn on. This is such a beautiful phrasal verb. It means when you suddenly understand something or realize something that you didn't understand before. It's like when the sun rises and brings light, and suddenly you can see everything clearly. When something dawns on you, the understanding becomes clear. For example, imagine you're watching a mystery movie, and for most of the movie, you don't know who the criminal is. Then suddenly you notice a clue and everything makes sense. You might say, "It finally dawned on me that the butler was the killer." This means you suddenly realized who did it. Here's another one. Let's say you've been feeling tired every afternoon at work for weeks. Then one day you realize you've been staying up too late watching TV. You might say, "It suddenly dawned on me that I need to go to bed earlier." It's that aha moment when everything becomes clear. Number 9. Decide on. This phrasal verb means to make a choice about something after thinking about different options. When you decide on something, you're choosing one thing from several possibilities. We use this all the time when we're making decisions about food, vacation plans, or important life choices. For example, imagine you and your friends want to go out for dinner, but you can't agree on which restaurant to choose. Everyone suggests different places. Finally, you all agree. You might say, "We finally decided on the Italian restaurant downtown." This means you made a choice and picked that restaurant. Here's another one. Let's say you've been thinking about buying a new laptop and comparing different brands. You could tell your mom, "I decided on the Dell laptop because it has the best battery life." This shows you made your final choice based on what was important to you. Number 10. Decide upon. This phrasal verb means exactly the same thing as decide on. It's just a little more formal. You'll hear decide on much more often in casual conversation, but decide upon is used in more formal writing or formal speech. The meaning is identical, so you can use either one. For example, imagine there's a formal committee at your university that needs to choose a new policy for student housing. After many meetings, they make their choice. In the official announcement, they might write, "The committee has decided upon a new housing policy." This sounds professional and formal. Here's another one. Let's say you're writing a business proposal for your company and need to explain what marketing strategy you chose. You might write in your report, "After careful consideration, we decided upon a social media campaign." This sounds more professional than saying "we decided on." And that's it. We've covered 10 really useful phrasal verbs today. I know it's a lot to remember, but don't worry. The best way to learn these is to practice using them in your own sentences. The more you use them, the more natural they'll feel. Thank you so much for learning with me today. I'll see you tomorrow with more awesome English lessons. Have a wonderful day and keep practicing.